Red Bull Wololo Legacy continues, and in this opening round we've got SortOf playing in the southwest corner of the map in yellow as the Ottomans, and his opponent in this set will be the Mista, none other than the Mista representing Team My Insanity, playing in blue as the English, opening up with an early barracks and going for some man-at-arms. We've known to come and love this kind of style of play from the Mista, some hyper-aggressive play and crazy strategies, often off meta, and well, he's going to pile on the pressure because this gold vein is hugely far forward for SortOf, and that's a big problem actually, because I mean, on Gorge, on this map, it's actually kind of interesting because this is an incredibly open map. Like, you have one wood line at the back and then you struggle for another wood line. Not only that, the gold vein is very far away often. Look at that gold vein for the English, and well, the Mista is taking full advantage of this. He knows that the gold vein is exposed, and you know, SortOf's village is under pressure already. 1 minute into the game, he's gonna have to pull off a villager, so this is causing a lot of inefficiency for the Ottomans. Great start for the Mista. Obviously no textiles in play for SortOf at this kind of early stage, having to replace the villagers that are weak, but this is all creating idle time. And what a fantastic opening on Gorge, this crazy map for Red Bull Wololo Legacy. And look at this, the idle time cause here is insane, and oh god, okay, this is so much value from one man-at-arms. Again, villagers being pulled back. Now SortOf just needs 200 gold. He needs to be able to get enough gold to advance to the next stage. He doesn't have enough. Still missing 10 gold. And oh god, if you gotta feel bad for SortOf. The denial of this gold. Oh, he's got 200 now. Okay, he managed to get it in the end. It was well calculated. Deposit it in the town center. He'll have enough gold to advance to the next stage. But look at the number of weak villagers there. And he won't be able to afford anything else. No wheelbarrow, no nothing like that. Just won't happen. On the other hand, because of that early aggression, it enables Mista to be very kind of stable at home. No economy damage, no idle time really. He is maximizing his efficiency on that gold vein. 4 villages on that gold. We'll be going to the next stage relatively soon. I mean, he's been delayed a little bit, obviously, with the investment of man-at-arms, but it was just one man-at-arm. Literally 100 food, 20 gold, and it creates so many problems. And of course, he did invest 150 wood into the barracks, but that's an ongoing kind of investment, if you like. And we've got Twin Minaret Madrasa, the landmark of choice for the Ottomans, played by SortOf, so he will get that landmark to get to the next stage, and he will be getting there a bit quicker than the English will. Actually sending 5 villagers to gold. This could be a fast castle. I suspect this is a fast castle by the Mista. He's going to go up to the next stage with the council hall. As I say that, it's actually going to go with 4 villagers. It could still be a fast castle with 5 villagers on gold. Especially if those villagers do go back onto gold. I'm kind of expecting that. Very interesting play here by the Mista, but being on an open map like this, Gorge, maybe it won't be a fast castle. I mean, it'd be very risky if that was the case. We'll have to see what SortOf decides to play this with the Ottomans. He does have some good intel with that man-at-arms. Not only is it just torching down that gold mine, well, it's stopping his opponent from gathering gold for upgrades, whether it be wheelbarrow, whether it be double broadaxe, any sort of blacksmith upgrades. You know, it's just really hampering that gold income that he would have loved to have had. One villager coming out to try and repair that mining camp, again forcing the idle time, forcing the wood cost, and look at that Mista on top of that already. He's pushing the villager back, and the villager isn't even able to repair that mining camp. The villagers heading to wood could suggest maybe some longbows popping out from that landmark, the council hall, once it does get to the next stage. SortOf getting there first, bringing some sheep in. The military school does go down, so we'll be getting some free units in the form of spearmen. Now has been teleported actually to Sipahi, because he knows that he's going to be up against the council hall, anticipating maybe some longbows popping out. A very encouraging opening for the Mista. The mill, in a bit of an awkward spot actually, not really up and close towards the barriers. I suspect he'll be using it more for farming economy. In any case, he will be getting that wheelbarrow most likely after that fuelage comes in and the mill is made. We shall see. 5 minutes on the clock, not too delayed. You know, it's good uptime, respectable uptime, especially considering the amount of early damage he's done. Pretty impressive. Here comes out the longbowman now. The trouble is, if you're SortOf, how do you deal with this? 2 villagers on stone. Man-at-arms heading down that direction. And we're pushing these villagers back as well. And the longbowman coming in as well. This is going to be a lot of early aggression. Archer range being put down for SortOf. So Sipahi and archers might be able to hold the fort for the Ottomans, hold the lines, but crazy early aggression here for the English. And women still continue to produce, and longbow making his way across into the gorge. Actually, that's another man-at-arms. Mista is continuing to produce those man-at-arms. He's not done. Let's play there, man-at-arms, archers, and longbow rather. Has he actually produced a longbow? I think he did have someone in queue. Yeah, he's got 2 there, just protecting his gold vein there. 3 in total. And group them up a little bit, maybe head forward. Blacksmith is now built, and it's an interesting concept using the blacksmith. Now, for the Ottomans, the blacksmith actually boosts the production speed of the production buildings. So he's done this nice and early, so hopefully she'll be able to get some units out, but we do have to think about calculations and actually the optimal time to build a blacksmith. He's going to get a 2nd military school, so we're getting even more free units, and that's quite a nice bonus there for the Ottomans, transitioning villages off of stone onto wood now. Not opting for a 2nd town centre, of course. He's expecting the early aggression. Kind of get that tone from the English so far, how they've been played in this match. Having said that, 5 villages on gold, that's quite a hefty number, especially as he continues to produce longbows. If we're looking to get those upgrades in nice and early. Does have double broad axe for the wood income. And I think if you're the English now, and the Mista might be looking to try and harass this wood line. Certainly sending some man-at-arms that direction, and some longbows, and a spear as well, just for good measure. And he's got a large army here. 13 versus 5. He's really ramping up the military count, and this village is going to be exposed. SortOf reacts well, and the twin minaret madrasa villagers have to be pulled back. Doesn't lose one, but they're all very low health, so you have to be very careful. Obviously, that man-at-arms took so much HP off those villagers. Look at them, so many are exposed, and a lot of them are low health, and so they might go down very quickly here. 3 longbowmen heading back. This is the only wood line for SortOf. 4 archers there for SortOf. He's going to try and push us back, but with the spears and the man-at-arms getting good value here, and this is a problem for SortOf. He's really dwindling in numbers, and they're having to head back to the town centre. Town centre gets a couple of arrows off, but not enough. Villagers are being targeted, the weak ones in particular. 1 goes down, maybe even a 2nd. Archers are being pulled away as well. Now, there are 3 longbow. There won't be enough to deal with the 4 archers that are here, but still incredible value. A lot of idle time being caused. Mista diving underneath the town centre a little bit. Does a lot of damage to the Sipahi. Now, then he's going to that western wood line. Much smaller wood line. And a 2nd lumber camp there as well. Trying to increase efficiency if he can. But behind this, not much happening. Sipahi trying to get some value there. Won't get all that much. Longbows here protecting that gold income for the Mista. Plenty of gold. Surprisingly, a lot of gold. Archers do take out a spearman there. A couple of man-at-arms still running around. Farming transition coming out now for the Mista. I'm a bit surprised about the gold that he has. He's got a lot of villages on gold. Possibly was thinking, but yeah, he's going to continue man-at-arms production. That partly is the reason why he's going to need a lot of food income to manage that. 100 food per man-at-arm. The unit control is so solid here for the Mista that he's getting so much value out of it. Longbow being harassed by the wolf. Not for too long. These wolves do have a leash mechanism, so it will be going back to its original spawning spot. Can only travel so far, these wolves, before they need to go home. Fascinating opening to this matchup, and you can see from the score already. Look at the military numbers here from the Mista. Army value 1,700 versus the 700, and it really does come down to the eco damage that was done in terms of idle time. Outpost going on that gold as well. Really want to solidify this position and protect it. And in the middle now, going to fight in the gorge. Sipahi heading towards the front lines, but there's spearmen there. That would be concerned for that Sipahi. Spy can't really engage. There are longbows in behind, ranging the archers. Man-at-arms also going to chase us down, and the numbers of army here just not good enough here for SortOf. Despite having the military schools that will be giving you free units, they're going to try and micro down the spears. Spears get pulled back. Man-at-arms tanking the damage. Longbows are behind, getting good shots off. Man-at-arms do head back now. It feels like Mista wants to just retreat. He does pick off an archer though. He's going to push the villagers off for gold. Now this is key. SortOf going to struggle to get that gold for upgrades again, and this gold is just such a big problem for SortOf. Didn't invest in an outpost, now paying the price for it. Archers are in good numbers though for SortOf. He's going to have to chase those longbows behind. Don't forget the archers do move faster. Got a faster movement speed than the longbows. Sipahi heading into the fight as well, but spearmen being brought into play. Sipahi can't engage. Sipahi pull out. Good micro there from both players. Longbows on the archers. Oh, Sipahi trying to engage, but the spearmen in the right position for Mista. The archers might focus down on the spearmen. If that's the case, the Sipahi have a bit more rain to attack, but the Sipahi is still getting poked and prodded by the spears. The spears do go down for the Mista. That's a bit of an issue because now the Sipahi can engage, but there are man-at-arms. That's the key difference here. Man-at-arms playing a big role here for the English. Longbows going to be firing off at the retreating Sipahi. Should be able to pick it off. Actually manages to survive with just 6 HP. But the man-at-arms again pressurizing the villagers on gold, and SortOf struggling. He's got enough gold for that upgrade for the double broad axe, but not a lot else. And now behind this, Mista might be edging towards that castle age. Look at the food income coming in now, 700 food per minute. And it's because of the efficient farms here for the English. Really nice transition, smooth transition to the farming economy. And looking nice here. It's also got horticulture as an upgrade. But the food income will be even better. Gold is being put to good use by the Mista. Slowly getting that food he needs to get to the next stage, but also applying pressure. He's got more of a military. 2 villages ahead, but the macro is so on point here for the Mista. We'll pick off another villager on the wood line. But more than just picking off a villager, it causes a lot of idle time. Yeah, the longbows will gauge the archers. Archers aren't in good enough numbers because of those man-at-arms. It's the man-at-arms that's really paying the difference there. In a straight archer-longbow fight, the numbers there mean that the archers would win, but it's the presence of the man-at-arms that can tank a lot of the arrow fire. And if they get close and personal with those archers, they'll do a lot of damage. So by heading towards the front of the base, the Mist has the presence of mind to kind of cut that off. The man-at-arms are there. There's a longbow as well, and again, there's just not enough military here for SortOf. They're kind of split into 2 groups, and he's losing army here, left, right, and centre, because of the long range of the longbows. There's the castle age time up for Mista, going up at around 12 minutes with 15 villagers on that King's Palace. Will secure that second wood line and go for another barracks, maybe looking for man-at-arms in the castle age. And really, that's a crazy army that SortOf will struggle to deal with. Doesn't have the food income he needs, despite having the twin minaret madrasa, which does give you berry picking 50% faster. You can only fit so many villagers around that berry patch, and I think SortOf senses something is up. He's going to start walling this west side. It's wood investment. He can't now invest in army. Well, he's got 3 military schools, which is decent, and 2 archery ranges, but he's struggling to produce. And maintain an economy to get himself to the castle age. Does have a decent number, has a meta as well, which will certainly help. Now this meta is banging on the drums, getting that attack speed by 15%, which is a very nice bonus. Might be able to take a decisive fight, and you get the feeling that SortOf needs to pressurize here, because if these units become castle age units, the fight will become even more difficult, and that's not something he will want to deal with. We'll spot the army on the west side. Will he take out the army or go towards the base? You feel like he's got to clear out this army whilst he still can. Mista recognizes that potential. He heads off back home. Or, well, actually no, standing his ground. Might be standing his ground. It looks like Armored Clad is coming in, and the upgrade to Castle Age Man-at-Arms. Oh god, if that happens, that is a big problem. And it looks like now the Man-at-Arms upgrade is in. Mista will take the fight. He's quite happy to. Longbows from behind. Meta, he's going to focus down on the Meta. Good play there by the Mista to do so. Has the presence of mind to focus on the Meta. Reduces that buff for those the army. 15% attack speed bonus is no longer there. Now the Man-at-Arms can continue the chase, and even despite being, you know, the numbers are crazy here for SortOf 30. Well, I wouldn't say crazy, but there's certainly an advantage. But coming against Man-at-Arms, these guys are going to get shredded, and SortOf's going to struggle here. The Man-at-Arms going to clean this up, and there's not a lot that SortOf can do here whilst being in the feudal age. The longbow's going towards that wood line, that single wood line that's so exposed now. The palisade walls doesn't do really much for him. A lot of the weak villages will be picked apart, and this all comes down to the initial opening. This Man-at-Arms getting so much value. Well, that one Man-at-Arm really that he started off with in the Dark Age, getting so much value. A lot of weak villages being picked apart, and now the Man-at-Arms going to be taking out the archers on the front lines. They're going to try their best, those archers, but there's only so much they can do. So by trying to hunt down those longbows, just the problem is that there's a decent number of longbows there, not enough Sipahi. Can't be trickling them in, they won't do enough damage, they won't survive the arrow fire, and the Man-at-Arms dive in the town centre, and there's just so much idle time here. 51 villagers for Mista because of that second town centre in the form of the King's Palace, and SortOf under all sorts of pressure. And SortOf's got to find a way. The longbow's getting good value as well, again still. Despite, it looks like they're going to be cleared up, so it doesn't look like Mista's going to invest in any sort of longbow upgrades in terms of the veterancy. But it's going to continue to pump those Man-at-Arms. You can see them trickling in across the map, and this spells danger for SortOf. He needs counter. I'm not sure how he manages that in the feudal age. He's going to stay in the feudal age. Can't really opt to do anything else. Doesn't have the food income to get to that castle age. And behind this, Mista with a crazy macro economy. He's got 2 TCs producing, villagers coming out left, right, and centre. 55 villagers to 38, and military numbers pretty steady and even. The second town centre coming out for the Ottomans, that will help possibly give him some static defences on the deer patch, but the problem is he's lost so many villagers as it is, and he has to play catch up here. You can see the army running around trying to get the Man-at-Arms to dive underneath the town centre, which they do, but you know, there's 15 villagers here that are idle. They only have 38 anyway. There's 10 villagers idle there, and that's just too much idle time. SortOf realizes it, and Mista takes game number 1 on the gorge. SortOf needs a response, and needs it desperately. Will we see it in game number 2? Stick around, that's coming next. Welcome back. Game number 2, SortOf playing in the southwest corner of Dry Arabia in yellow as the Abbasid dynasty, going up against Mista playing in blue as the Malians. Interesting, because it's one of the new civilizations for the new downloadable content for Age of Empires 4, and the Red Bull Wololo Legacy is seeing some of these new civilizations, of course. The Malians and the Ottomans. We saw Ottomans in game number 1, played by SortOf, and now we're seeing the Malians by the Mista on Dry Arabia, building those houses around the pit mine. But we're looking to get that passive gold generation. Going on the straggler tree, relying on that for now, and we'll be looking to get a lumber camp sooner or later. The Abbasid dynasty, one of the traditional civilizations, have been available since the beginning of Age of Empires 4, and often do look for that second town centre. We shall see if that's a bit more of the meta in the new patch. The current patch, where town centres have been nerfed a little bit in terms of the stone requirement needed. It now needs 350 stone. Yeah, but the Abbasid dynasty, having access to the House of Wisdom and the economic wing to get to the next stage, and in particular the technology of fresh foodstuffs, which reduces the cost of their villages by 50%, which is a large saving, and can really maximize the booming potential of an economy with the Abbasid dynasty using that technology. We shall see if that's what SortOf decides to do today on Dry Arabia. And the Malians, from what I've seen so far, they're a bit of an underwhelming civilization, but it could just be the case that players haven't really figured out their power spikes just yet. Of course, it's a very new civilization. Now, you know, before the tournament started, there were some discussions with Mista in Twitch streams and whatnot, and we were discussing about feudal age aggression with the Malians and the usage of the javelin throwers. We shall see if we see any of those units today, and certainly excited to see how Mista plays as the Malians, because Mista is known very much as an incredible strategist, a great theory crafter of Age of Empires and RTS games, and so it'll be interesting to see how he decides to play this game as the Malians. There's that House of Wisdom. We'll be getting the economic wing, and that'll be unlocking the potential to have fresh foodstuffs as an upgrade. Takes a fixed amount of time, 1 minute 40 seconds to get to that next stage for the Abbasid dynasty. Malians at the moment just a little bit off on the food. We'll be getting there soon. Maybe a couple more drop-offs will do it for Mista. Now, the Malians do have a trade landmark. I suspect we won't see it. We won't. It will be the Mansa Quarry, which give the passive generation of 75 gold per minute, or possibly stone, if that's what the Mista so inclines to do. We will see. Scout just going around the borders of that pit mine. And the good thing about playing against the Abbasid dynasty for the Malians is that, well, I mean, Mista is very adept at playing the early aggression game anyway, but they can be kind of a bit prone to early aggression here. Lots of you know, houses and pit mine there exposed and possible to be, you know, attacked in the early stages of the game. It does help with the spawning here for the Mista, though, the fact that it's kind of behind this wood line. Your opponent would have to take the long way around, but you know, the Abbasid dynasty, they're not known for their early aggression, at least not in the Dark Age, that's for sure. It will be that feudal age transition that we're getting in for the Abbasid dynasty, obviously with the economic wing, 34 seconds out, and it looks like you know, Mista won't be too far away from that feudal age himself with 4 villages building. The good thing about the House of Wisdom is it does mean that the villages, you know, it's not taking time for the villagers to build that landmark or you know, age up rather. It did have to spend time building the House of Wisdom rather, but that's a one-time investment. Looks like the Abbasid dynasty will get there first to the next stage, but Malians won't be too far off, and quite heavy on wood there. The Abbasid dynasty going on stone now, sending some villagers there, so it certainly does look like it's going to be 2 towns to play, 4 villagers being pulled to that stone mine, and there's the fresh food stuff technology being queued up, reduce the cost of villager production by 50%. The Mansa Quarry just about to be completed there for the Malians, played by Mista. The villagers now going to build a stable, so it will be early aggression here for the Mista. Going for stable, likely horsemen. We'll want to try and punish an early expand, but the early expand might come in. Using 2 of the villagers to build houses. Going for a barracks to try and counteract that stable. We'll be looking to get some spears to defend this position and maybe get that second town center up and running, but we'll need some time to collect the stone he needs. 5 minutes on the clock almost. Warrior Scout completed, so the Scout will be upgraded actually. Looks like a couple of Warrior Scouts will be, well, it's actually Sofa. He's going to get some Sofa. Heavy melee cavalry. It's cheaper than heavy cavalry for reduced health and armor though. Has a high movement speed, but it does have a cheaper cost. It's kind of like the halfway house between a horseman and a knight for the Malians. Gonna get some Sofa onto the field. There's a spearman. Gonna push this warrior scout away for now and continue mining that stone. Has a decent number of villagers there now. Has a total of 6 villagers. Aiming for that 350 stone that it now costs for that second town centre. We'll need the wood income as well. Has a decent number there, 9. No one on berries just yet. Relying on the sheep underneath the town centre. Safe source of food. Warrior Scouts pushes the villagers off of gold. And Mr. He's very adept at doing this, harassing. As he now plunks down an archery range. So it's going to be Sofa and archers coming out. And does have the potential to get some javelin throws if he does see spearmen coming out. We shall see. In fact, sorry, the javelin throw is actually a counter unit for archers. We don't see an archer range coming down for the Abbasid dynasty, of course, so will be stable barracks for the Abbasid dynasty. Scouts do cross paths, and looks like Malians Mista going to get the first hit there. It'll be interesting to see who wins that. The scout did have higher HP to start off with. I think the warrior scout technically should win that. Question is, do they have the same movement speed? That would be interesting to note. 1.62 tiles per second for the normal scout. And 1.88 for the warrior scout. So the warrior scout does move a little bit faster. There is double broadaxe coming in for the Mista. Wheelbarrow queued up for SortOf. Looking to get that eco up and rolling. Warrior scout looking to just harass the villagers. There is a bit of a weak villager on the gold there. SortOf will need to react and pull that villager if he's not to lose it. Does pull it, and the warrior scout will take a couple of arrows from the town centre, but manages to escape quite nice and quickly. There's the second town centre expansion on the deer patch there in the south of the map. We can hear cows. We can hear the cows coming out from this mill for the Malians. Looking to actually cow boom here. He is getting a cattle ranch now. Each cattle garrison inside will generate 28 food per minute. Quite nice for the mid to late game once it starts to kick in. Getting cattle ranches now. Cows are garrisoning inside, and the cows actually cost 100 gold. So Malians are very much gold heavy civilization. They do have an infinite source of gold as well from the quarry, the pit mine rather, and the quarry actually as it is. That's constantly generating 75 gold per minute. Will help fund those cows somewhat, and does have the pit mine. Does have a few villagers on that gold as well to supplement. 2 Sofa and a couple of archers. Archers want to focus down the spears, but there's quite a few of the spears. Horsemen engage with the archers. Archer goes down for free almost there for Mista. Might lose another archer, but the Sofa are there close by, might engage. They do. The archers on this spearman. Could be a bit of micro here for the Mista. Gonna try and survive with the archers, but the archers do go down, so good value from the horsemen. Or SortOf, but the chase continues. The movement speed of the Sofa 2 tiles per second, 2.04. That's the charge anyway. It's 1.73 without the charge. Warrior scout. Okay, well the horseman pushes that away. Mista opting to just save the unit numbers so far. And behind this villager count relatively similar. Just one different, despite having a second town centre here, SortOf. But the big difference is that the villager production will start to ramp up on the second town centre, but not only that, the food saving is pretty extensive here for the Abbasid dynasty. Villager pulling out to this pit mine and houses around. So the reason for the houses is the houses actually boost the amount of gold that comes in from the pit mine passively, and so do mining camps, as you can see. They've got these little plus there signs. It means it's being boosted up there. Continues to produce those archers. Cattle numbers slowly starting to build up now for the Malians. Nice bit of passive gold generation, food generation rather, for them. Quite a few villagers on gold there, 10 of them for the Abbasid dynasty. Maybe looking to get to that castle age actually, that seems to be the case. Sofa engaging to defend with their army. Quite a decent number of army here for SortOf, although they are kind of split up here. 12 in total, but they don't seem to be in a cohesive group. Horseman trying to escape, might lose one. Which we'll see. Trying to make it out. Villager lead starting to build up now a little bit. 39 for SortOf, having extensive palisade walls on the left side. Onto that wood line. Wants to get some protection on this back economy. It does protect some berry patches, which is quite solid for the Abbasid dynasty. Of course, their civilization, the villagers pick berries faster. Which is a nice source of food, and it's free food on the map, so you cannot blame the Abbasid dynasty for opting for that. And quite a few villagers on gold. Gonna get there soon for that castle age. And that could be the chance for the Malians to pressure, but the trouble is the Malians do struggle often to get to that castle age. They often have a slow up time. Despite having all these cows, it does take some time for that eco to really start rolling. Does have 2 pit mines, but still is kind of struggling on the gold income. I mean, he's got 600 per minute, so that's going to be catching up soon. Struggling on the food somewhat. There's that castle edge going up with the culture wing. That will unlock the potential for preservation of knowledge, which will reduce the technology costs. Really nice bonus for the Abbasid dynasty now. Getting those production buildings up. Another barrack suggests that maybe man-at-arms will be the play for the Abbasid dynasty in the early castle age. We shall see what he decides to do. A couple of units in the south, taking those villages back to the town centre. This is a concern for SortOf. That's his primary gold income here. Might need to drop an outpost or two. He needs to defend his position. A couple of spearmen though in good positions. Well, they need to try to get into position, trying to chase down. Needs to keep some on this gold vein. Needs to protect those villagers. That is for sure. Needs to maintain that income. You get the feeling, well, I mean, if Mista does hop this side, he'll see the construction of the House of Wisdom, the next wing. There's a telltale sign for the next age up, and we see the Grand Fulani Coral landmark coming up for the Malians. It's a unique landmark to the Malians, of course, but nearby cattle produce 20 food per minute, so that'll, further increase the food production passive generation for the Malians, played by Mista today. Mista will be going to the next stage. Now, the thing is that Mista can speed up his castle age time, just invest more villages into it, and, Culture Wing is getting slowly researched, but still 26 seconds, and, the Mista's not going to be too far behind that castle age time. Bit of an aggression there on the wood line. Sofa do back off, the spearman there. Mista gets out before he's trapped. A couple of horsemen on that pit mine. A couple of villagers might go down. Maybe just a couple, one or two. Villagers turn around and fight, and horsemen are a bit underwhelming the situation. Villagers will take the fight, archers are behind. Those are cleared up, and spearmen continue the chase of the Sofa. The Sofa got the movement speed. There is the castle age coming in for the Abbasid dynasty, but Grand Fulani Coral not far behind, just a second or two in it. And Mista getting to the next stage as well. He's going for looks like imported armor. That increases the armor of Sofa by +2. That is not to be underestimated. It is a very strong upgrade for the Malians. Palisade walls coming up, so certainly sort of smells some danger. As we are heading into the 13th minute almost in this game, and military numbers looking strong here for SortOf 19 of them, and it's it's in part because of the economy building up. The two town centre play is strong, 2 for the price of 1. Those villagers coming up, and there's another pit mine coming up here. This could be a focus for attack. It's pretty exposed. Should the Abbasid dynasty spot it? That is the case. That is the question though. Will he spot it? The siege workshop going down, so SortOf investing in some siege, maybe looking to get some mangonels potentially. We shall see what he decides to do, what he decides to invest in. Struggling on the wood and the gold to be able to afford anything just yet. Getting the phalanx upgrade, getting the veterancy for his spearmen. Also investing in steeled arrow. Now, with both players in the castle age, relics could become a thing. We shall see. There's certainly extensive palisade walls for the Abbasid dynasty, and Mista follows suit. He's looking to protect his economies. Getting a mosque here in the exposed area. Walling up on the side there. Pretty surprised not to see the palisades being extended to the eastern border. Instead, he opts for the palisades to the back there. Keeps it a bit more closer to the range of his villagers that could be used for repairs, and we see villagers on stone. It could be the case that SortOf might be opting for further town centres, maybe even a keep. But there's a large standing army for the Abbasid dynasty here, played by SortOf. 63 villagers to 45. Mista playing this relatively passively compared to the first game, that is for sure. And this is nice for the Abbasid dynasty. He's getting some upgrades, agriculture from the House of Wisdom, improving villagers' gathering rate from farms by 15%. That food economy will start to ramp up, and don't forget the villagers are half price, so the food often is very overwhelming for the Abbasid dynasty, and you can pump that into units. As you can see, it is happening. 34 military units for the Abbasid dynasty, sending a scholar out, or an imam rather. Going to be looking to pick up some of those relics, but we did see a mosque there earlier on for the Malians. It does have a couple of, imams queued up. Ooh, looks like SortOf looking to try and get an outpost in that position. The relic is picked up though. Will he spot it? Not going to try and wallow the villager. Could have actually done so, but I think he's going to prioritize bringing that relic home, and you wouldn't blame him. It pops out Mangonel, but look at the military numbers really starting to ramp up. Could be a potential for SortOf to push forward, maybe with a keep actually. He's getting, looking to get this gold income. Healing up the, repairing the wall. The stone vein has been depleted there. Doesn't quite have enough for a keep of his own here, the Abbasid dynasty, so we'll be looking to mine some more and maybe move out a bit further with his army. Maybe take a decisive fight and put a keep on the front lines, and there's a lot of production buildings here. You know, a keep here would be, if it was able to go up, if it was be so bold, would deny stone, gold, berries, and also any units that come out from the town centre, or not town centre, but any units coming out from the production buildings would immediately be under fire. SortOf engaging the spearman, Mista not looking here at this point. Perhaps he is and decides to take the trade, but it wasn't a good one. Especially with the archers now, but the spearman needs to pull back because the archers will take care of that. SortOf does back off, he spots that, and he retreats from the danger. SortOf continue the chase. In the south, a couple of SortOf are going to get some raiding value, but SortOf doing well to keep an outpost here, with Springald emplacement as well, so he is defending his pocket economies quite nicely here. Pulls the villagers back anyway, he starts to transition to farming economy around the protection of his town centre. A couple of idle villages there on the left side. Well, that'll be fixed soon, at least if you are a fan of SortOf, you'll certainly want it to be. The Mom doesn't quite get away with that relic. There is a Mangonel that could do some damage against the veteran archers. Veteran archers do look to back off. Does get a volley off, but doesn't get much damage onto those archers at all. Crossbows, spears is the armor composition of choice for the Abbasid dynasty, and Mangonel behind could do some work. Villagers of gold here struggling, or quite a few villagers here. SortOf needs to pay attention. There are 3 spearmen. They're going to help protect that position, but focusing on the north here. This is where the keep is being dropped on this quarry rather, or the pit mine. Offers a staging ground for an attack for the Abbasid dynasty. We hear relics being picked up. I believe that is for the Mista. Both players have 1 relic in the bank already. I say in the bank, but really in the mosque. In the north now, SortOf going to pressurize this area. Going to be looking to take down this pit mine. 3 spearmen continue the chase on the 4 SortOf. Army numbers looking healthy though for the Mista. 49 versus 58. And trouble is though, 2 SortOf do get snared into the spears, and this is a big fight here, and I'm not sure why the Mista's taking it. He does take out the Mangonel, which is actually a big deal. In fact, I know why he's taking it, because the SortOf are going to do great work. They've got some damage onto the archers. There are a couple of spears still there. Could be relatively even trade. The veteran archer number is great here for the Mista. He's going to take out the spears and then double down, and it's a great fight overall for the Mista. It didn't look like that the case when the Mangonel was there, but that fantastic use of the Springald actually changed that fight completely. It would have been a different game. Different fight entirely with that Mangonel surviving, but it didn't, because Mista had the presence of mind to have that Springald to counteract that Mangonel, and now the SortOf are going to chop down the reinforcements, and this is a big retreat here for the Abbasid dynasty. He has to head back home. Lost a lot of military numbers, and in fact Mista actually has a greater military number now, but the eco being on 2 town centres has been strong for the Abbasid dynasty for quite some time, so we'll be able to replenish his army as long as he's got the production buildings. He takes an engagement here. SortOf heading into the spearman. This is a bad engagement for the Mista. Kind of overcommitted there a little bit, lost a lot of SortOf there for free. You can see a lot of those horse carcasses, not ideal. As we see now, the second wood upgrade, second lumber upgrade coming in for SortOf, lumber preservation, and then increased gathering rate for 15%, and 2 Mangonels behind now. We're interested to see if there are any Springalds queued up. Yep, there we are, Springald queued up on the siege workshop. As expected, he won't want to just commit just to Mangonels. He needs an answer to these 2 Springalds that are kind of edging towards that area. Looks like the Malians are looking to try and get more relics. Has 2 in the bank already, picking 1 more up, and we're bringing that back home. Sacred site on the north has been capped by SortOf. We'll increase the gold generation and production, or passive generation for him. Going to wall around this wood line just to try and avoid any overchops causing problems for him. On the east side, that outpost giving him good vision. Look at the pockets of the pit mines going up there around the map, and there'll be a nice gold income there. You can see the gold income for the Malians, over 1,000, well over 1,000 per minute. So if I'm going to try and take down this outpost, there is a Springald emplacements and arrow slits. That's a bit of a problem though, but although, you know, a couple of HP will take it off the SortOf, but they'll take care of this. Torch damage doing well, the building's on fire, villagers are inside. Those 4 villagers will go down. Spearmen heading that direction. I say 4 will go down, actually 2 of them go down. Spearmen chase. Those 2 villagers will be thankful for those spearmen as they look to try and build that outpost. Actually, they decide to get the food instead. Spearmen are going to try and push those SortOf away, and they'll be successful in doing that, but the archers coming in, while the Malians, as you'd expect, to try and reinforce the SortOf army, take care of the spearmen, and the SortOf will have free reign over this dry Arabia map again. Heading into the choke point, this is a bit of an overcommitment by SortOf. by SortOf rather, and the Spearmen are all going to go down to the archers. That is a pain. Mangonels are coming in though. They decide to retreat. Oh, look at that massive man-at-arms. We didn't see that happening. It building some Springolds on the field. That's the benefit of the Abbasid dynasty. Able to build that siege engines on the field, and we do see a lot of man-at-arms have been queued up for a while, it seems. Has been saving up, and the military numbers pretty equal at about 40 to 50 each. So if I try to possibly try to engage, but it just does feel like the Abbasid dynasty have a higher value of army here. And you can see that here on the bottom left, 10,000 versus 9,500. Not a lot in it, to be fair, but it's just getting caught out a little bit. I'm not sure where they're off to. Are just getting caught out as well. Spearmen are going to come into the SortOf fight, but there's two Springolds. Springolds get taken out for the Mista. That's not ideal. Two Mangonels are still there, but the Mangonels are being pounced on by the SortOf. This could be a good pick off by the Mista, picking up the siege. There's only one siege engine left. Well, there's one Mangonel actually. One Mangonel, one Springold. Mangonel gets taken down. Springold on its last limbs. But it's a good pushback there by SortOf. It looks like the Man-at-Arms getting good value. There's still Mangonel there for the Mista. Might get some decent value, but the Man-at-Arms should be able to tank against the Mangonel a little bit. The Springold will go down. The SortOf pick it apart. This is a big push here for SortOf actually. Looks like he's gaining momentum. Mangonel will go down to the Man-at-Arms. The archers here will only tickle those Man-at-Arms. That's a concern for the Mista. Those archers aren't going to do great value against the Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms should be able to chase. Spearmen focusing on the SortOf. Man-at-Arms focusing on the archers, and really at this point there aren't really that many SortOf on the field now for the Mista. At least on this, not in this picture. And even if they are, they're very low in health. Veteran archers are starting to push back a little bit. Not enough Man-at-Arms there for SortOf rather. Pulling back on the army. Both players pulling away. But overall, well, the Abbasid dynasty could do this all day. They have the better economy, building up a keep there on the defense there for 5 with about 10 villagers. Springolds, 2 Springolds in play there for Abbasid dynasty. Does make it difficult for any siege coming in forward for the Malians. Archers engage against the archers. Veteran archers on both sides. Spears are there just to protect against the SortOf that are sweeping around on the right side, looking to engage. The SortOf do engage. That wasn't expected. I expected Mista to pull those away. He didn't. And only has one SortOf left, and now Mangonel coming out. This could be a problem for Mista if he doesn't spot it. He doesn't have a Springold like he did last time. This could be big Mangonel shop. Shall we see it? No, the Mangonel's not unpacking. Not sure why. He should really. He doesn't. Oh, Mangonel, what are you doing? Mangonel just decides to stand there like a lemon. Oh, that's a bit of a missed opportunity there, you feel, for SortOf. Could have got a good hit there, but instead he lets his opponent retreat. Things have calmed down again. Boiling oil coming in this defensive keep. Sacred Site has been captured here by the Mista, so good gold generation for him. Mangonel does head forward, but no Springolds to protect it with. There are 2 Springolds there for SortOf. Surprised not to see a village come out and repair that. That's quite on its last limbs. Only 2 HP. Looks like there is a... Oh, looks like a veteran archer, rather. 2 Mangonels. Relatively even in terms of military numbers. The trouble for the Mista is the longer this game goes on, he just has... he's up against a better economy here. Although, I mean, it's difficult to quantify because he does have the pit mines constantly getting him gold. He does have an extra relic as well to his name. So an extra 100 gold per minute from the relic and pit mine gold that's coming in passively. It's going to be nice. Keep going there for SortOf, looking to try and deny that pit mine location. Mangonels are getting ready to deploy, being defensive at this point. SortOf is expanding, wants to get another source of gold. He's going to head forward with his army now, looking to take an engagement. Military numbers actually in the favour of the Mista. But relatively equal army value. 2 Mangonels, 2 Springolds there. Do we see Springolds here for the Mista? Doesn't appear so. Yeah, we do. 2 Springolds, relatively even actually. Mista up ahead with 1 extra Mangonel. Interestingly, SortOf actually moving on the right side, getting outposts. Looking to secure this location. There is actually a Lancer there for SortOf raiding the wood economy. Must have snuck in. Alright, SortOf taking care of that tall outpost. Now the thing is given his way his position, so the Mista will know exactly where he is, and looks like he's going to try and get a keep here, SortOf. Yeah, a couple of villages there, but they are under pressure. Mangonels do get some shots off. Decent shots off against the cavalry. There is a Mangonel there for Mista though, gets off on the villagers. SortOf needs to be careful here. You'll need to be very careful. Mangonel do fire off. They're focusing on the infantry instead. There are 2 Mangonels behind. This could be a big shot here for the Mista. Oh, quite a few archers do go down. Big shot there for SortOf. Mista going to be taking out those Mangonels eventually. Oh, another big Mangonel shot though. There is still a Mangonel there for the Mista. Mangonel for Mista does go down to the Springolds, and they keep struggling to go out. Villages are there, but there's Mangonel there. And, oh, lost a lot of villages there. That's a big Mangonel shot. A lot going on underneath this outpost. The outpost is not even up, and trouble is that it looks like SortOf is losing this. Although actually, having said that, no, he's not, because the man-at-arms are there. Those are going to chop through those archers, and you just feel like the meat shield is not there in the right position. The Sofa aren't doing what they need to do. They're going against the spearmen rather than the man-at-arms, and they're not acting as a meat shield. Although they should win this fight overall. Starting to overwhelm a little bit. The man-at-arms are going to try and retreat. Might just snipe a Springald on the way back. No, they decide to try and run home, but doesn't look like they're going to survive. But on the back of this, reinforcements are coming in. The Bastard Dynasty Eco really playing a big role here. He's able to replenish his army. Heading into the 26th minute of the game almost. Does have an outpost. No emplacements in there. Villagers will need to garrison. There are 5 of them on that wood line. They do garrison inside the outpost. Spearmen there as well. Sofa on the retreat. 2 of them, well, 1 of them goes down. But we might see some more siege for the Malians if he wants to be a bit more aggressive and push. But there's another keep going here for the Bastard Dynasty. Looking to secure this west side. Does have a keep there on the west side as well. I mean, it's slowly expanding. This is slowly but silently happening. On the north, he's getting that sacred site, stone walling out the gold as well. That is very key strategic areas, and there's going to get a keep in the center of the map as well. And I mean, this is a difficult position for the Mista, because he's slowly being edged out towards the corner of the map, his own corner. Slowly back against the wall, actually. Quite literally, stone walls. On the east side though, Sofa are riding in, trying to get some raiding value. The villager lead really extensive now, almost double, 110 to 62. In the middle of the map, Mista struggling to push forward, doesn't have a trebuchet. He needs some siege that can take care of this keep. The static defense is really working quite nicely here for the Bastard Dynasty, holding off the attack. There's a couple of Sofa, but they're kind of just getting picked apart by the town centre and the retreating and the protecting army. Might get some value on the farms here. Massive farm transition. Mista will be aware of that. Only palisades on the side, but the stone wall slowly being built up here in the north. And there's no real angle of attack here for the Malians. Has a couple of Sofa. They're trying to ride round to the back of the base. There are spearmen in chase. And they're kind of trapped in a way. They're going to have to circle around on the east side. Looks like SortOf is destroying these houses. Going to take an engagement here. I'm not sure who this favours really. Probably favours the Sofa actually. I suspect the Sofa might win this. It might be close though, because the horseman numbers are greater. I think the Sofa win that, and the horsemen know it. They're going to retreat. The Sofa there for the Malians quite low in health. They're trying to get value, but they're just running around, just being nuisances more than anything. And I feel like Mista's losing more than it's achieving there. As the stone walls do get built, a little bit of a gap there still. Still running around with the Sofa there, Mista. See some stone wall coming here on the right side. Could we start seeing some trade potentially for SortOf? Possibly. We'll have to see. I mean, population is almost capped, so that's the problem. Mista is so far behind now. He is edging closer to being, having double the economy up against him. And I suspect it might be Imperial Age coming in for the Bastard Dynasty. There's not a lot that Malians can do to disrupt that, unless he has a big push, which he does seem to have. A couple of trebuchets will go down to the horsemen though. A lot of archers. Another trebuchet does get taken. Push will continue. We talked about not having enough siege, but Mista has invested in siege now. Has 2 mangonels here, SortOf, and a Springald to defend with, as well as some spearmen. Spearman mangonel could be the army here that saves the Bastard Dynasty. We shall see. But a lot of units coming out for the Mista. He's investing heavily in military, 61 to 55. Concern for SortOf is he's got a choice to make, either to go to the Imperial Age or focus on military. And you just get the feeling he's got to focus on military here. Now let's take care of the Sofa that are riding around in the back, and there are a few more there though for the Mista. The Sofa diving in, going to pick off a villager, but I'm not sure if it's worth it. Going to lose a couple of Sofa because of the Springalds and the keep there. It looks like the Malians just testing the waters. Quite a few mangonels here. Trebuchet is going to start focusing on that keep, and it looks like SortOf might be opting to go to the next stage. He is population, well, I'm not sure his population capped, but he will be soon. There are 4 Springalds there for the Bastard Dynasty. He needs to try and snipe some of the siege. There it is. It's the military wing that he'd be going up to the Imperial Age with, and the Malians, the Mista might just resign after he sees his opponent in Imperial Age, because the Mista is absolutely nowhere near that Imperial Age, and he's struggling to push. Doesn't have any trebuchets, has 4 mangonels. We shall see how this game pans out. Does have the gold head to take care on the right side. No markets in the corners just set up for trade. Just getting to the Imperial Age soon. Just over a minute left on that timer. A couple of lancers and horsemen going around on the north. Mangonels deploy, gets some good volleys off, does get some damage, picks up a horseman. Oh, Springles get taken apart, one gets taken out for SortOf for free. Wasn't looking in that direction at the time he needed to be. Couple of lances going around the north, trying to get some value, but they're going to be cut off by reinforcements. But I like what SortOf is doing. He's just sacrificing a few lancers to bring all this army back home for the Mista. It buys SortOf even more time, split the army into two, and now can press forward even more. Looking to get the sacred side in the south. The horseman diving in a little bit, looking to take out the Springle. That's a big win there. 3 Springles to 3. Mista loses 1. Horseman going to protect the Springles. Good micro here for SortOf. Might look to try and take another Springle. But there are Soffer heading back to the keep, fighting there nicely there, SortOf. In the back of the base, there's a bit of raiding damage, but we're not going to look away because there's big mangonel shots coming out on the Spearmen. A lot of units might go down. One of the Springles does go down for the Abbasid Dynasty. It's a strong push here for the Mista. But there's the Imperial Age for the Abbasid Dynasty, and Mista's absolutely nowhere near that Imperial Age. He needs to double down in the Castle Age, and the trouble for the Mista is going to be up against the Imperial Age army, and he knows his beat. He probably knows that the techs are coming in for SortOf, and SortOf pulls one back. He pulls this set even 1-1 as we head into game number 3. Don't go anywhere. That game is coming right up. Here we are, ladies and gents, moving into game number 3 between SortOf and Mista. SortOf in the south corner of the map, playing in yellow as the Rus. On the map Prairie, going up against Mista, playing in blue as the Mongols. This is a best of 3 in the opening round, and well, it's one apiece, so the winner of this will actually go to the winner's bracket. But all is not lost for whoever loses this game. They will go into the second chance bracket and have another chance, as the name suggests, to get to that quarterfinals in the Red Bull Wololo Legacy. So we're going to be in for the decider for this best of 3, and looking forward to seeing how this matchup pans out. Now, the Mista, renowned for being very aggressive as he was in the first game. He let up on the gas in terms of early aggression in the second game playing as the Malians, but he's playing as the Mongols now. And we'll be looking to do some damage against the Rus. We shall see. There's a girl going out on the west side, looking just to get some scouting information for the Mongols. And fascinating matchup, Rus versus Mongols, 2 of the civilizations that were released at the start of Age of Empires 4, when it was first released back in November, I believe, 2021. And now, I mean, looking at the eco upgrades, no wheelbarrow coming in for SortOf just yet. Doesn't want to commit to that. There's the new patch. You don't actually get gold from the sheep that are killed, so you have to be a bit more careful. I mean, he doesn't have the wood for wheelbarrow actually, so he might actually get wheelbarrow eventually once he gets that 50 wood. It costs 50 wood and 150 gold rather. So he does hit the 50 wood. Will he invest in that? I suspect he might. I mean, it's a bit tricky because he needs to get enough wolf. He needs to get enough for wolves around the map, and also the deer and the bounty for that. So be a calculated move. You don't want to be caught short of gold and delay that age up more than it needs to be. Oh, Khan might be going down for the Mista. Oh, uses the movement speed, but he loses a lot of sheep. Trying to get the sheep out of the way, but SortOf might pounce on that. He might get a lot of sheep for free. That's 7. That's a lot of sheep. There's a lot of food on those sheep. 250 a pop, and that's going to help SortOf a lot if he gets hold of that wheelbarrow coming in now. He is investing in it. Feels confident to be able to get the next stage, and why wouldn't you? He's already still got 200 gold left in the bank, even after getting wheelbarrow. Is she being pulled away there by the Mista? Will SortOf spot that out? That is the question. SortOf scout, not really in position, is on the west side looking to get those wolves. He's not really looking for those sheep. He wants the bounty instead, it seems. In any case, let's look at what the Mista is up to. Where is that over? There it is, right at the back there. Now, the map being Prairie, it's one of these exciting maps where you have very little wood. It's a bit crazy when you think about it, but the Mongols can relocate the town centre. In a very nice spot, he's done so on the woodline and the gold. I mean, got plenty of villages on gold, 4 of them, looking for a fast feudal age, not looking for a dark age, rush or outpost rush or anything like that. There's the Golden Gate, going up the 7 villages here, SortOf. Wants to get that tech up to the feudal age as soon as possible. Villagers now transitioning onto wood. Wheelbarrow will be coming in shortly for the Rus. Wheelbarrow coming in for the Mongols as well from the Gur. Relatively passive opening considering Mongols are involved in this matchup, and the aggressiveness of the map as well. Suspect it'll be Deerstones. That is the landmark of choice for the Mongols here, by Mista going up with 4 villagers, so we'll be a little bit away from that feudal age compared to his opponent. Interested to see how many villages he keeps on gold. It is just the 2 so far, so we should be expecting some feudal age aggression. Does have 122 wood, so we'll be able to expect to see a production building relatively soon, but we will see. Oh, sheep came in again. I think Mista must have caught those sheep again. It looks like it. I think SortOf might have missed an opportunity there to deny those sheep. I kind of lost track of those sheep eventually, and it's like Wooden Fortress will be coming up now for the roost. Will boost the wood drop off on that lumber camp by 20%. So the wood economy incredibly strong for the roost when you factor that in. And so it's going to try and get a stable there. The scout for SortOf notices it. He's going to pile some pressure there. Probably transition into a barracks having seen that. Going to be looking to go and mine some stones, so it does look possibly like the Rus are going to go for a second town centre, and that's something that possibly the Mongols could punish if they look to be aggressive in the feudal age. We shall see. Gold vein here very far out of that town centre. This could be an exposed area to fight for the Mongols, as you hear the music in the background for Age of Empires 4. When the Mongols get aggressive, this is the music that comes in. It's absolutely amazing. I keep that music in the background on purpose for the atmosphere for casted games. I hope you enjoy it. I certainly do. I know some people don't necessarily enjoy it, but I feel like it does add into the immersion, as we do see 2 scouts there looking to focus on that Ovu as things quieten down a little bit now, and the Mista reaching the feudal age at 5.5 minutes, going for upgrades to his horsemen and double broad axe, as we see 8 villagers on stone looking to get that second town centre, which Mista will now see. Will Mista opt for a second town centre himself? He'll be certainly collecting a lot of wood. We will see. A lot of sheep coming in though for the Rus here. The front lines. There is a scout and the Khan pushing away the scout for SortOf. Would unfortunately protect those villagers on stone though. Well, if he garrisons anyway. Gonna pull those villagers away. He doesn't need any more stone, it seems. He's got the 350 he needs for that second town centre. Quite comfortable to pull those villagers back. And where will he go for that second town centre? Will it be on berries at the back? We shall see. Possibly will be. Possibly on this wood and gold. Yeah, looks like it's going to be on the berries and the wood line. Yep, going to secure the wood line there. Not on the berries really then. In any case, on the front lines, the scouts just getting some information. Going to have to head away from the horsemen. Now, the problem is that, well, I mean, SortOf is going to lose 2 scouts here because the horsemen have a higher movement speed and they just chase this down. 1.88 tile per second versus the 1.62. The horsemen chase those scouts down and kill them. That's unfortunate for SortOf. You lose 2 scouts, and that's vital in RTS games. You want that scouting information. As we see a spear trying to chase down the scout for the Mista, but there is the Mongol Khan there firing off as he rides away. Scout coming to the town centre. He might survive actually. Horseman doesn't manage to kill him. I take it back. The scout survived with 3 HP. Horseman losing a lot of HP himself, and that's huge. The scout can actually regenerate health as well over time, albeit very slow, so that scout lives to fight another day. Quite a few villagers on gold here for the Rus. Could be opting for maybe a castle age timing. Maybe some knights. But possibly some knights, but we don't see a stable just yet, so, well, it's early days, 7 minutes. Second town centre will be pumping out new villagers, and we'll need that food income pretty quickly here, the Rus, to fund that. And we'll be a second town centre for the Mista as well. Quite far forward on the boar and the deer. That could hold very big consequences for this game, because the boar is one of the fastest sources of food that will really ramp up the economy for the Mista. It has 9 villagers forward there. You can maximise 8 villagers on a boar, so 1 village will take deer. That's not a bad alternative source of food on this map. Now, Mista has had double broadaxe as well for quite some time, and this eco will be rocking and rolling. We'll be aggroing that boar and looking to take that boar meat. Let's take out the villager, the weak villager. Oh. He might have lost a villager. No, he didn't. He managed to save the villager in time there, the Mista, on 5 HP. And that villager is the villager that is tasked with the deer meat instead. Took a lot of the damage from the boar, but doesn't get the food as a reward for that. Goes for deer instead. On the back lines on that gold vein that was exposed, there is a wooden fortress offering a little bit of protection there for SortOf, playing as the Rus. Here comes the Gur going forward, possibly. I'm not entirely sure where that Gur is going to. Possibly just to increase the efficiency on the wood there. There's a drop-off point. We shall see. Maybe on. Yeah, that is indeed the case. He's going to focus on that wood line. Got plenty of villagers on gold, and Get the feeling that Mista is opting for a second, a Castle Age uptime now. He probably wants to get up to the next stage and tech up. Looks like the Roos is heading that direction as well. Neither player wanting to throw this last game of the set away. They need to be slow and measured and make sure they don't throw this away because it has big consequences. First set of the tournament for both players. The Red Bull Wololo Legacy $300,000 prize pool. You know, you don't want to be throwing those chances away easily. Both players looking to hopefully advance to the quarterfinals if they can. And Mista certainly one of the fan favourites in many ways. SortOf getting through, I think, with the weekly qualifier. I'm not entirely sure how SortOf actually qualified. It might be through the weeklies. In any case, he's made his way here and he's looking good, winning that second game on Dry Arabia. And he will have something to say against Mista. He will certainly want to get to that quarterfinals himself, and he's putting in a good fight. He's going to get up to the next stage quicker than the Mista, going up with their high trade house. Not a landmark we see all that often, but we'll be getting a good amount of wood income. Look at that, picking up about 2 to 3 wood lines there, so we're getting a constant gold trickle from that and food. So we don't often see this. We often see the Abbey of the Trinity, but it's a nice landmark. The high trade house generates gold like a hunting cabin would, with the value increased by 400%. So that's a lot, and it spawns huntable deer every 60 seconds. Now, the big bonus of that as well is the longer the game goes on, the deer do still give you bounty and does count towards the bounty system for the Roos. Now, on this new overlay that we're watching, the Capture Age overlay, it unfortunately doesn't have data stipulated about what bounty level or bounty tier system that the Roos are at. Once you reach certain tiers of bounty, the Roos get better efficiency for their economy. We don't see that, but with the huntable deers always spawning, the bounty will always increase, and 500 bounty is the max you can get. That unlocks the highest tier of efficiency of the economy. And so obviously with the deers coming out, killing that up, we'll get that 500 bounty, and that unlock that highest tier of efficiency for the Roos as the game goes on. As we see an outpost coming out for the Mongols, looking to try and deny that gold. We see the Knights being upgraded. Separate out is the landmark of choice for the Mongols. That will be coming up very quickly. There are 13 villagers on that case, and Mista will want to try and double down and put some pressure in that Castle Age. Knight upgrade comes in for the Roos. Both civilizations on 2 town centres. Mista just edging it in terms of the military numbers, and looks like some spearmen going to head out, but it feels almost like actually the Mangudai should be able to deal with the spearmen, and it feels like SortOf is kind of struggling here. He doesn't have the units he has, or he would want, to try and fight this off. The Knight will get involved, should be able to snipe out the villager. That's actually a big difference here. That buys SortOf a little bit more time. Spearmen going to join in the fight, but there are a couple of Mangudai. Does get a good hit on the horsemen. They survive though for now. Mangudai could become a bit of a problem here for the Roos. We'll see how this one changes and this game progresses, but do we see anything happening in terms of relics? We do. We see prayer tent going up for the Mongols. Looking to get those relics there. And he should be able to, as long as he packs a bit of a punch with his military. But production buildings are going down. Holy smokes, that's a lot of stables. 4 stables. Monster coming up for the Roos, but the trouble is for SortOf is Mangudai up against Knights. They do decently well. It's hard to chase them down with Knights unless you have a big mass of them, but the Mangudai are going to push us back, and this is a concern for the SortOf because he's actually invested in 4 stables. It really kind of needs archery rangers here. Now the Roos don't do too badly when it comes to archery range units because they do have a great wood economy with the wooden fortress boosting up the wood economy. Trouble is that the Mangudai have such great mobility, and looks like Mista is very keen on utilising that. Couple of villagers in the north in that gold vein. SortOf will be aware of that, but just doesn't have really the units to pressurise that area. And outpost is being burnt down, does go down. Mangudai can take apart that spearman. Warrior monk not able to pick up any relics just yet. Goes past the wooden fortress. Now the thing about the Mangudai is they do kind of melt to static defences like this, so this is not really a position that the Mista will want to be in, but it's the Lancers that are tanking a lot of damage there. In the north, a couple of Knights going to do some damage, but heading towards the town centre, trying to kill some villagers underneath the town centre. We'll get a few of them. Not enough space in the town centre to harbour all of these villagers and keep them safe. The Knights will get some kills, but I'm not sure if it'll be enough, although the villager count is down now to 55 for the Mista, and does lose those Knights now, SortOf. The mobility looking quite nice here for these Knights. Do see another Shaman entering the field. I'm not sure where he's going. It looks like he's going to pick up the relics further away, maybe. I'm not entirely sure where this Shaman is off to. In any case, yeah, he's starting to head back now. Mangadai take care of the knights that are there, and the mobility for the Mangadai really proving beneficial for the Mongols. There we are, picking up that red... excuse me. Maybe not. That's rather curious. Anyway, it is what it is. Horseman there for SortOf. Just protecting these villages underneath the town centre. All stables, quite surprising to see that number of stables, but we do see the arch rangers coming now in response to the Mangadai. As expected, really. Shaman comes out again. Now he's picking up the relics finally. Do see, or hear at least, the warrior monk trying to get Wololo, but it won't happen. And the Mangadai keeping an eye on these relics. That's so key for the Mongols. Looks like palisade walls are coming up for SortOf on the right side, trying to give him some control of the game so far and just tunnel the Mangadai, try and restrict their movement because they're running riot here and the mobility is so strong here for the Mongols with these units. A lot of gold being pulled in here. 1,000 gold per minute coming in for the Mongols now. Whilst the high trade house and the hunting cabins are passively generating gold for the Rus, well, the steppe redoubt is getting 50% extra gold being dropped off by these villagers that are mining here on that gold vein. Still has a significant amount of gold left, 4,000. It's on the east outpost there, being torched down. There is a spring on the placement. Knights, or lancers rather, with Mangadais behind, are going to push that back and SortOf has to retreat, and it just feels like constantly the Mista chipping away at this army. You're taking down another horseman. Mangadai going to sandwich them in. What nice play by the Mongols. Going to try and get into position. Won't want to get too close to the wooden fortress. They do have a lot of HP, these guys. As we head into the 16th minute almost in this game, and the army numbers starting to build up for both players. Relatively even though. Villagers there looking to try and get the palisade walls. I say villager count even, but a lot of these villagers will go down. They were unprotected, and Mista spots it. He gets a lot of villagers there. Nice pick off there. He equalizes the village count a little bit more. 72 to 68, but the army's starting to build up here. Archers and horsemen for SortOf, wanting to put some pressure on the front lines now, heading forward to that direction. The Lanza spots it for the Mista. He's going to bring those back home, and he knows where the army is now. And the army is going to try and cut this off, and this is interesting. This army could be used to cut off the retreat, which is actually happening now, but not quite there yet. Siege workshop coming out for the Rus, maybe looking to get some mangonels. That'll actually devastate Mangadai if they get the hits off, and the palisade wall is looking to go up again. Very weak villager, only 2 HP on that guy. Or lady. I believe it's a guy. In any case, Mangadai and Lancers heading around on the centre of the map now for the Mongols. Looking to deny that central sacred site, Warrior Monk getting involved. The Mongols pressing ahead, he's starting to put some pressure on, going forward. And the trouble is, for SortOf, the archers might be pounced upon by the Lancers. Lancers heading in. 1 or 2 crossbows, but not enough to really take a meaningful engagement. I think Mongols are heading forward in now. Mista trying to dive on this archer mass. He's heading into the base, underneath the town centre and the wooden fortress. He feels like he can take a good trade here. There are reinforcements coming in for SortOf, and he's going to try and take that archer mass. And Mangadai, they're going to run riot. He's going to try and get out of there though. He does lose a lot of Mangadai. They're not particularly tanky in terms of pierce armour. Now, the Lancers still survive though, they're pretty tanky. They're going to disrupt a lot of the villagers here on the farms. Equal villagers on both sides. Villagers on the hunting cabin and deer can be taken apart by a couple of Lancers. They retreat though. Overall, an interesting engagement here, but on the north, palisade walls doesn't get taken up. Again, the trickle comes in for the Mongols. The units keep flooding in. They're heading away with the Lancers. Bit of a deep dive there by the Mista. Lost a lot of military. 17 military still remain for him. A big change in dynamic could come about by the fact that there are 3 relics here. Very nice gold trickle coming in for the Mongols. Look at this extensive walls coming in for the Rus. Looking to secure that central sacred site as well a little bit. At least protect it from his opponent. Wololo going off the east side, but that doesn't work out too well. Warrior Monk trying to bring that relic back home. Doesn't quite manage it. And looks like Mista might try and get that 4th relic. Stone count slowly building up for the Rus. I've got quite a few villages on it. Maybe looking to get a keep on the map to defend this choke point. On the front lines, Mongols just poking and prodding, keeping an eye on things. Does have 2 siege workshops being built as well, so it looks like Mongols and the Mista looking to be aggressive now in this mid to late castle age. He's investing a lot of military. And you feel like there's going to be a strong castle age push. A shaman coming up to maybe secure that sacred site. Palisade walls aren't up just yet. There's that keep we were talking about. That keep will be being put in that middle of the proposed plans for those palisade walls. Interesting to see if that actually comes out and works. And certainly that keep is being built with 8 villagers. Should go up. Let's look at the palisade wall in front of that as well. Mista not engaging in that. He's going to engage in the army on the west side though. SortOf going to lose a couple of horsemen here for free. It's good pick off there by the Mista. Mista does have less army numbers, but he's got a strong military army value, as you can see in the bottom left. If anything, Mista actually has a larger army value despite having fewer units. Mista caps that sacred site on the right side. Gold trickle will be very good for him, as we see some siege engines for SortOf. We heard it, I'm not sure what it was. It was a Springald. Springald and Mangonel are on the field for the Rus. Looking to decap that sacred site on the right side, but Mangadai heading that direction, and the Shaman maybe looking to get a Wololo. Surprising to see the Shaman being so ballsy there. Couple of knights here on the left side, denies that wall. Maybe being a bit greedy with the walls here, SortOf. Trying to... Oh, the Shaman decides better of it. He's going to be looking to get Military Academy here, the Rus, to try and increase the production speed for his units. Or, well, decrease the production speed. Well, no, increase the production speed, decrease the production time for his units. The army start to build up on the front lines with the Mangonel, and siege going to be approaching soon, you feel, with the 2 siege workshops. Getting increased axles first, which increases the movement speed of siege engines. Mangonel fires off on that retreating lancer that does escape with his life. Looks like we'll be capped by that warrior monk in the middle. Shaman has a death wish, apparently. Well, he heads back, he thinks better of it, he realizes the error of his ways. Lots of pastures here, condensed food economy as the Mongols often happens. Economy-wise, Mista doing well. 90 villagers versus 87, and he does have the number of relics, 4 of them. 3 relics more than his opponent. Not to mention the eco bonus from the Step Redoubt. Also the High Trade House and the hunting cabins will do good work in terms of gold generation. Well, not this one. Only 1 gold per minute on the hunting cabin. In the north, bit of a raiding party. Heading into the 21st minute now, 22nd minute almost. Lancers heading in the east side, going to try and burn down the palisades, maybe get some value. The trouble is the palisades are so extensive that, I mean, it does give him a notification, so now SortOf will be aware of this. We'll look to try and get his army in position, sends the spears. Does have quite a lot of economy at the back, possibly exposed if those lancers break in, and they're just coming out to try and repair. Uh-oh, this is bad, this is bad. If that doesn't get repaired in time, he's there in time, but will the torch damage come out first, and they're trying to build a gate here. Uh-oh, this could be bad. The lancers might get in, and those villagers are right for the taking. The spearmen are there. Good timing for the spears, but still lancers could possibly take that engagement with the Mangadai behind, but villagers re-wall behind that. There's a lot of idle time caused there. 14 villagers idled by just a couple of lancers pressurizing. Those lancers wouldn't be doing anything anyway, so good value there for the Mista. Army heading in that direction again. There's a keep though in the middle, the trebuchet looking to try and push the second town centre back. Lancer's going to try and break through again. 2 Mangonels in behind. Uh-oh. That's a lot of Shaman. The Mista's brought on a lot of Shaman. That will turn the fight. I mean, if you have equal military numbers, those Shaman will change everything. It looks like the Mista's smelling blood. He wants to head in. He's heading in with the Lancers in front, Mangadai in behind, and the Shaman behind that. The Lancers will act as a meat shield with 2 Mangonels as well. And this is a big fight, and you just got the feeling that the Mongols will win it. The Mangonels get a big shot off on the spears on the front line. The Lancers engage on the spears. It's not ideal for the Mongols. But the Mangadai in behind and the Shaman heal up those knights. It will delay the ability for the spearmen to take them out. And there are crossbows in behind for SortOf as well, so it could be an okay trade. But the Lancers doing great work. The Lancers take care of the spears, and this is looking bad for the Rus. The Mongols looking dominant here. The Shaman telling a tale here. They're really making a big difference. The keep does go up for the Rus, offering a bit of static defense, but it's just not enough. The army numbers plummeting for SortOf. This could spiral out of control as more reinforcements does come out for the Mongols. Longbows, well, the crossbows are there, but they're not going to be able to take those Lancers out anytime soon. Not with the Mangadai behind, and the Shaman healing everything up. There's still a solitary Springald. There's no siege for it to attack, and that's a big loss there for SortOf. 16 military, 51 for the Mongols, and this is where things spiral out of control. Snowball effect well underway. The Mangonel gets taken out. Very expensive unit to lose there. Mangadai going to be running riot, unchallenged. And look at the number of Shaman. Look at the sheer number of Shaman going to be healing up these units, and It all comes down to the Shaman play here by Mista. What a clutch play, SortOf losing his military numbers as they're popping out from the production buildings. The Magadai is going to camp this area. This is looking horrible for SortOf now. Things might spiral out of control. It's got to get military numbers somehow. Mangonel deploys, gets a decent value shot against the Magadai. But I don't know, those Mangonels might be caught out of position, and now the Knights and Lancers are going to raid the economy. Villagers going to be garrisoning aside. Lots of villagers idled here. 89 villagers, 101. That doesn't tell the full story because 16 of those 89 are idle now. And look at this, the Mongols running rampant. And behind this, look at this, Trebuchet on the field. We're looking to take down that keep. There is a Springald there that gets taken apart. This is bad because that keep is the main standing static defense, and there are 2 Trebuchets working on that. But as we focus our attention on the south, the Shaman accompanying the army that's there, and this army will stay alive for a long time, constantly being healed by the Shaman. Although, as we said, that the archers are on hot pursuit, the Shaman don't have the same movement speed as the army. Army deciding to head further afield away from the Shaman. There's still a decent number of those Shaman there, though. That keep will be under pressure. Boiling oil coming in, but I'm not sure that's going to help because they're now 3 Trebuchets, 4 Trebuchets. Look at the replenishment of the army there for the Mista. Grouping up again with another onslaught on the way. So many villages idle, 24 of them. Villagers here on the west side going to try and escape, but the Knights, Lancers, they don't spot it. Nagadai will go down, so the raiding party will be taken apart. Shaman healing each other up, being more than a nuisance, more than anything. Boiling oil is in, but no pressure, no real rush for the Mista to push in just yet. Has 4 Trebuchets and a large army behind this, 50 army to 13, and has the economy lead as well. And you get the feeling Mista is in a strong position, looking to try and get to that winner's bracket. We would cap off a fantastic best of 3 set if Mista does win this, but SortOf is going to need a miracle here, you feel. The Mangonels are there, Lancers might dive on that. There are 2 Springals, but Springals aren't going to get too much value for the Roost, and look at that, Lancers are going to dive in on the Mangonels. Mangonels will perish, and with that, that might be the GG, because it's how do you come back here from the Roost? Mangonels do try and get a hit on the Mangadai, gets one final hit, but it's just not going to be enough. 57 military to 8, and SortOf doesn't have any defenses left, and there it is, he taps out. Mista gets the first set of his Red Bull Wololo Legacy tournament. He wins the set 2-1. SortOf does still have a second chance to progress to the quarterfinals. But the Mista has one more set to go for, and if he wins that, he'll be right into the quarterfinals. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted set, and if you did, do give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content for the Red Bull Wololo Legacy, the casted games, do check out the playlist by clicking the right hand card screen now. Take care, and see you next time.